Islands offer a concise and sometimes poignant look at how we interact with the land around us. For Johnston Atoll, a small unincorporated territory in the North Pacific, I have a hard time seeing that story as anything but a tragedy. The atoll, which comprised only 2 islands before people arrived, is not known to have been home to any indigenous people. Like many atolls, it was first discovered by a ship accidentally grounding on its shores. Throughout the 1800s, it was tugged back and forth between the Kingdom of Hawaii and the U.S. government, which claimed it under the Guano Act. This would be the beginning of a one-sided relationship with the land, where, in this case, it was used for its phosphate. In the 1900s, it would be recognized for its wildlife and was the subject of biological surveys. As a part of the famed Tanager expedition, in 1923, a team photographed the atoll from a floatplane, which was brought over on a small warship called the Whippoorwill. A short list of flora was described in the 1931 publication of Vascular Plants of Johnston and Wake Islands. The water around the atoll was rich with sea life, from hundreds of species of fish to turtles, seals, and whales. In the 1920s and 30s, the atoll was again the object of competing interests. President Coolidge first established it as a bird refuge due to its wide variety of seabirds and its importance as a breeding ground. There were petrels, terns, shearwaters, boobies, tropic birds, and many more. Then, about a decade later, FDR gave control to the U.S. Navy, also by way of executive order. The irony is not lost on me that this so-called important bird area would then be completely altered by this decision and all the coral blasting and excavation that would ensue, to establish the atoll as a base for seaplanes. And it doesn't end there. After the Second World War, the atoll would become the site of a series of nuclear and bioweapons testing. While the islands were used as launch pads for high-altitude weapons tests, a series of failures in the 60s would scatter radioactive debris throughout the lagoon. And the atoll was used as a chemical weapons storage site, including for Agent Orange. Needless to say, this place is rife with untold amounts of chemicals and contamination. The satellite imagery lays out the history of Johnston Atoll in a way that makes it so clear, in 2 dimensions. The remnants of the hurricane-damaged structures, the dredged lagoon, the artificial causeways, the 2 artificial islands. It reads like a graphic novel for virtual globetrotters. And despite all that it has been subjected to, Johnston Atoll remains a place of great biodiversity. I suppose this can be seen as a testament to the resilience of nature, but as I contemplate it from the lens of Google Earth, I can't help but feel saddened by what remains.